All right. It's quick response to this whole ooh, Spider-Man is white, fire all over the place, and yada yada yada. And I kind of felt, I had to respond to a specific friend on video because typing it out would get things a bit erratically all over the place. And at first, I started typing out, but I was really, really angry because this is the type of issue that kind of influences me personally. The way things are moving, the way I see this kind of wave of people thinking they can appropriate other people's creation for themselves, and they start shaming them based on the decisions they take on this. So I am going to reply to certain issues. I got my phone with the post. I'm gonna try not to be too aggressive, okay? But this is close to home because I am a content creator. I am working on my own comic. I want to get into animation, and hearing this kind of stuff gets me very fucking angry. And I'll try to explain why. Now, the point that he wanted to say is that the point is that we live in a society with a diversity of people. When your work of fiction doesn't represent that diversity, yet represents all other aspects of current society, the choice has been made to exclude that diversity from representation of our society. I have to deny you on that. That does not make sense. Because as a content creator, I will take personal experiences and inspiration to work my fiction. And the same goes for Stan Lee. Back at that point, it didn't really matter what he wanted to do, which I'm guesstimating from a distance, but just relating the experience is to have a story with a man, Peter Parker, bitten by a radioactive spider, and then things trailed on. There were a couple of things in society that affected his decisions at that point, but in the end, it is still his story. You can't say that he literally excluded certain faces or diversity of society. You can't say that because, frankly, we are not psychic. We can't read into the creator's mind. Right now, working on Extra Stage Disc 4, am I going to just change the mixed race of my main character? No. Why? It's my creation. I get to do what I want based off my experience and where my creativity goes. Why should I be forced by society to add more diversity if it doesn't fit with the story? If it doesn't even fit with my vision? That's where I kind of grow into this boiling ball of rage because you are dictating what creators should and shouldn't do. And that's not the game. That's not the game here. If you want to have your own fiction, then you're all welcome to create your own books, create your own comic. But you're going to have to sink in the time into learning how to draw, learning how to write, learning how to um, you're gonna have to learn composition, presenting scenes, and all that. All things that these creators have already studied and did to make their vision come to screen or come to page. So when you or any of these, I call when it comes to, let's say, the other side, I usually call them radical gender and racial ideologues because they are putting this over everything. And right now, seeing how creators are getting probably lynch mobbed for some of these decisions that are of their own, it's their creation, then I kind of feel the fact that, well, we are going back to the age where people are going to burn books because they are from the devil, right? Because they do not fit with certain societal standard or societal views. Doesn't matter. It's other people's creation. At this point, maybe we should revamp the color purple. Okay, let me just go on. Okay, but you do understand what I mean. You can't just harp on a creator for doing what comes out of his mind and out of his inspiration. It's his product. Let's see. if I go on, there might have been a period where the choice was utterly unconscious, but it surely isn't with public conversation we've been having in the past 20 years. Again, public conversation. Maybe that creator wasn't part of that. Maybe he was just too busy creating his own thing. You can't fault a person not to keep up to date with everything that is happening. And at the same time, even then, you can't blame them for not shoeing it in. Because once you shoe in content that makes no sense to the current narration, to the current product, then you're just landing on a lackluster result. And the worst part is, the people who requested that change will easily turn against you. It's been seen quite often. Let's see. Peter Parker can be black or Latino, not because of Miles Morales, Miles Morales worked in the comic, but because these stories are fiction, not historical facts. And there is no reference to real world facts that requires that we represent a real world Peter Parker by an actor that looks more or less like him. Okay, so I can make a work of fiction, and if it goes into movie, I don't have the right to request an actor that looks close to my creation? So let's say if they make a God of War movie, get a skinny dude. As long as he's bald and he has the paint, it's all right. Like, I'm kind of, I don't want to jump into conclusion, but I'm seeing a pattern of it doesn't matter what the creator does as long as he does what I want. I'm just seeing this pattern, okay? The more I read this. But then again, look, there's been multiple iterations of Spider-Man. And I'd be open to having a black Spider-Man. I say Spider-Man. Because at that point, Miles Morales, it works. And there's been other people who have made fan fiction of this character in multiple different types of iteration. Hell, there's a multiverse. Yet, when it comes to this story, this creator's story, because this is a story from the original creator. When it comes to this story, it's Peter Parker. It's not Miles Morales. It's not Asian Peter Parker. It's not an alternate universe at this point. It's Peter Parker. So why would my desire to have Japanese Peter Parker in this movie, why should it truffles or trample the creator's original vision? Who the fuck am I to ask that there is a Japanese Peter Parker when the story and what the creator originally wrote is Caucasian Peter Parker? You see, and again, and right now I'm just a thought. Would be the big difference of having black Peter Parker? What would it do? Like the article which I referred to on Facebook, and I'll put a link below, was going on about it's because white is pure and black is ugly, and it's like, whoa, you're projecting a lot of things, man. Slow there, homeboy or homegal. I didn't even read the writer of the article's name because I found this whole thing to be extremely ludicrous. It's like, no, it's because Peter Parker is Caucasian. That's it. And at this point, I don't see the point of shoving in Japanese or black Peter Parker in there. It wouldn't do squat. Will Smith is Peter Parker now? Well, we're going to the Michael Bay verse now? That'd be funny. Let's see. You can have the Peter Parker Spider-Man and have a person of color play him. Again, refer to what I've just told you. Note that even in historical characters, Hollywood has found little trouble in representing Middle Eastern, Native, and Asian characters by calling on white and Latino actors. Point? I'm just going, like, point? We're looking at something that's in fiction that's already been canonized, and then Discovery Channel's attempt to have somewhat relatively accurate kind of characters and replacing them by a tad bit different. You see, now if I can get a person that's exactly, if I can get 50 native Indians for my movie from Canada, then I gotta make changes. Honestly, it's like trying to ask, all right, I want 50 extras that are completely Native Americans. All right? Has to be. But I can't acquire them. I'm gonna have to try and find a way to balance it out. Also, it's kind of like saying, I need, oh wow, I need to represent this chieftain, okay? I want it to be very accurate. Problem is, I can't find an actor that will decently represent that person, or I can't find an actor from this kind of race that can act, or that can act the way I want to, that can act the way this character was, okay, in history. I'm gonna have to make do with an actor from another race that actually has acting experience and credit. Kind of understand what I mean? Hell, if there were no other, let's say, Caucasian actors that could play Peter Parker, well, I mean, hell, they would even skip over Shia LaBeouf. Then they would have to deal with maybe someone that's a bit Latino or something else. Yet, this is not the case. You kind of understand what I mean? Like that little paragraph, that was kind of weird because you were bringing a historical Discovery Channel type of stuff in a different context than, let's say, a Hollywood blockbuster movie. You know, the different difficulties when it comes to casting in both senses. But that's kind of interesting. Let's see. It's a choice if it's a choice. Huh. Oh, wait. It's a choice. And if it's a choice, it's because there are other options. Let me go on. The content creators aren't immortal God with omniscience and omnipotence beyond judgment. Okay. So, they make choices, and choices can be bad, or they can represent ideals that are not shared by others. Okay. Michael Bay. They depend on the readership and viewers to have a livelihood. Slow down there, homeboy. I gotta put a stop onto you. Who are you to say that their choices are bad? Are you going inside their head and going to say, okay, well, you exactly thought about this, thus this is bad? Again, I'm seeing this policing of creator tone more and more. And this just flashes a red sign at that paragraph. Who are you to dictate what is good and bad in other people's creation relating to what they may have thought at that point? If you're psychic, then get off the internet and do some good. But you kind of understand what I mean. I mean, as a creator, a couple of people might say certain things about my characters, and I'm like, that's not how I envision it. You may be off the ball, but that's not how I envision it. Like, how far do you go with this logic where you can just say, Stan Lee decided Peter Parker was white, and that was a bad choice? It's an influence. It's a decision. It's a creator's decision. He just does what he does. He creates based on his experience and surroundings. That's his choice. If you don't like his choice, if you don't like his product, then you are free to go. Let's continue. Oh, and also the fact that they depend on readership and viewer for their livelihood. Half and half. You got to watch out. When it comes to creating, a lot of creators are just going to create and go and run with their vision. And at that point, certain people that like this vision will latch on to it, give positive comments, give stuff that could be improved and all that. But they will not deter the creator from their original vision. Why? Because they like that vision. That's what got them there in the first place. So you can't say that creators like that are starving and depending on people for their livelihoods. Because when it comes to creation, from the start, you started from your mind, from your own imagination, from stuff that you like. You put it on paper. You don't simply create to appeal to a certain base. That's what, Palm Marketing wants you to do. And I could tell you a couple of stories when it comes to game designs that have been ruined by this kind of thought. By this kind of, I need to appeal to this. Many stories. Look up Overstrike and Fuse. Let's see. They have an interest in knowing what they think. When it comes to creators, it's a half and half. I don't know what you think, but at the same time, I don't want you dictating what my content is. Hence, it's essential that people express what's wrong with comics. What is wrong with comics? I'm waiting, because there's a difference between wanting to shove in your personal desires, and there's a difference between critiquing comic. And what I'm seeing there, again, I really don't want to sound too harsh, but it sounds like you're trying to police other people's creations. This is where I gotta put a stop to that. Let's see. You can't claim that the property has already been in development as having white Peter Parker, okay, or having Peter Parker rather than Miles Morales. Yeah, Civil War. Read it up. Especially with the coming up of Civil War story arc being borrowed from the comic book timeline. Okay, but that is not an argument for the content creators' artistic independence. That's an argument for their slavery to the franchise owner's censorship. What are you going on about? Again, what are you going on about? Because let's say I want to make an extra stage comic movie, and instead of putting a mixed race character, they put in, I don't know, a fully African American comic. I would feel just like Avatar: The Last Airbender by M. Night Shyamalan. Exactly. You remember that movie? It kind of got panned because all of the extras were casted as Caucasian people, while they were somewhat from Eastern type of descent. I would say Inuit, from Upper Canada. They were close. And even then, I'm kind of wondering, M. Night, were you actually able to get various other races? Because admittingly, The Last Airbender was kind of big. And I kind of want to look into those books. But this is kind of like saying, well, I'm taking the direction of this movie, and I want your extra stage character to be an African American, just like Riley from the Boondocks. What? No! No! Give me my original content! What are you? I'm not being a slave to the copyright's ownership. No, I want my original content to be on screen. I'm the creator. What's the problem with me wanting my creation to be on screen the way I envisioned it and placed it on paper? What is wrong? What is this slave to owners censorship, to franchise owners censorship? What is that? I just want my representation of my character on screen the way I drew it, the way I envisioned it. What's wrong with that? I don't get that. You can get back to me on that. I might make a part 2. But frankly, at this point, get me firing. I'm not angry at you. I'm just angry at those words. And frankly, I know if we were talking face to face, we would have a nice discussion. But right now, rah! Okay. Nothing prevents a brown-skinned Peter Parker from kicking ass in Civil War, and nothing prevents the story from happening to a Miles Morales Spider-Man either. Aside from the fact that it's not the way the creator had it in his mind. You can't. You might be able to swap it. It's gonna be extremely weird because let's just imagine that scenario. We want Miles Morales to be the next Peter Parker, or to be the next Spider-Man in Civil War. Alright, next Spider-Man movie, Peter Parker, white, introduction, gets this whole thing. Let's say we started after Spider-Man 2, dies from cancer, Miles Morales takes over. See you in Avengers. That would be as crazy as Spider-Man 3, where Sam Raimi was forced to add multiple villains, and he's like, no, too much. You need to have one single villain, or else it's gonna be way too much. And look at the shit show that gave. No, it's possible, but it's gonna be a huge shit show. Like the speed up event. Let's go, shoving Miles Morales. And also, you gotta get a good Latino teenager actor. I'm sure you can find that. It's just, you'd have to rush the kid really fast. And then have, in that same movie, after killing off Peter Parker, you gotta have somewhat of an interchanging start of Miles Morales. So you would have an ending of a trilogy, plus an origin story for Miles Morales, and then a lead on. That is a lot to manage. A lot to manage. I don't know if you've done video editing or script writing. That is a lot to manage, my friend. And frankly, pulling hair out at this point. Okay. These aren't logical impossibilities. These are creative choices. Yes, creative choices that have been done, written, completed in comic book format before what is supposed to represent it on screen has been made. Thus, this is why it's going to be the same, because they no longer want to have a shit show like those first X-Men movies where they were just killing off characters left and right. Oh, Phoenix is a double personality and all that. But then again, maybe you're not into movies. If you're not into movies, if you're not into comics, then you might not understand this. Have you created your own comic? Have you created your own fictional universe? That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. And if you see it animated and moving as a picture, it brings a tear to your eye. Yet, if somebody wants to force their own creative ideas on your already established canon, of course you're gonna get angry. I'm fucking angry for him. Let's see. You can't have both pride and respect for creative choices and also insist that they are beyond reproach because the content creator have their hand tied to do things exactly one and only one way, the way the franchise owner wants it. So again, going back to what I'm seeing again, okay, going back to my previous hypothesis, is you want to dictate what the content creator does. Because, honestly, okay, Extra Stage, the movie, I'm going to have to redo some volumes if that happens. I'm going to have to go get laundry after this. But Extra Stage, the movie. Alright, we want more diversity. Whoa, wait, that's my product. What are you doing? Yeah, your main character, he's going to be African American, straight up. Yeah, but he's mixed race. Yeah, you do it straight up. Want more diversity. People are yelling. Also, this character, she's no longer Caucasian. She's going to hate, I don't know, Latino. But I didn't envision this character as Latino. She's Caucasian. And her mannerisms are part of an inspiration that I had from another movie. Doesn't matter. Gonna add more diversity. Let's get Jennifer Lopez to do it. You kind of understand what's going on here? A set story, a set narrative has been made for a reason, out of the creator's mind. You can't just change it to your own thing. You're changing what the creator has originally envisioned. You are making a Street Fighter the movie right now. You are making the Double Dragon movie right now because you are changing the content creator's original vision. It was written in such ways for a specific reason. It's like me changing Astonishing X-Men Gifted and messing it up. Josh Whedon would be angry. Rightfully so. I understand. You want more diversity. I fully understand. And this is why I gotta tell creators, create. You have an idea in your head? Don't wait for Hollywood to do it. Go out there, create. Get the skills. Train. You want that vision to come to life, okay? Then just do it! I'm not tall enough to flex, okay? Just do it! Don't wait for the comic industry to do it for you. Don't wait for the movies to do it for you. You have an idea. You have a story about people with multiple diversity. Just do it! Don't try to go to that person that's writing their story, that's drawing their comic, that spent thousands of hours refining their skills, has a product. Don't go to that person and tell them that you want this, and this. You don't. That's their own creation. You don't want to you don't want to be that kind of bully. Like, this whole diversity thing, this whole diversity discussion has gotten to a point where now people are trying to bully content creators, either with games, either with comics, and now with fucking movies. What? So now we're gonna have to follow the trends now? Is that what's gonna have to happen? I can't just do my own content without having a person on the side going, well, you're lacking diversity, you're lacking this amount of character from this amount of region. What? I can't create my own things now? Is it public domain as soon as I put it out there? I don't even need to wait 30 or 50 years now? That's my problem with the whole issue. And as a content creator, I take great offense and anger. Oh, I'm triggered. Chrono triggered by that kind of attitude. And I do wish to tell all content creators not to get bullied by this kind of attitude. Not to get shamed by this kind of attitude. Because most of the people just yapping it up on Twitter and all these other medias, they don't create. They only want to destroy. If they were up for that, if they had the balls, they would do the training. And they would do the media themselves. They would bring their stories on screen, on paper. But no, these people, they just want to whine. They just want to take your property. That's where I get angry. So, again, Facebook friend, I don't want to be extremely mad at you, but I do want to make you understand that as a content creator, this is the POV that you get on the large part. I won't generalize. Yet, careful. Alright? We can have some back and forth and maybe there's going to be a part 2. But please take some time and hell, you could even call me on Skype. We could even have a Skype talk or a Google Hangout. I'm open for discussion. Yet, I will absolutely not advocate for this creation policing. For this artistic policing due to some diversity police. We're not in the book burning eras of the Christian church. We're past that. Let's not bring that back. Signing out, people.